Hi guys, it's Paul here from PABrewNews. Got a beer here, 1050th review. I always like to do something special every 50, and that doesn't change after the 1000. I was so surprised to get to my 50th. Now 1050th is pretty freaking amazing for me. So anyway, I've got a beer here. What beer? I'll show you. It is the Old Ruffian barrel-aged barley wine style ale, an ale aged in whiskey barrels, the 2015 vintage, 10.2% alcohol by volume, from Great Divide Brewing Company, I believe from Boulder, Colorado. Great Divide Brewing Company, Colorado. This was bottled on March 27, 2015, so almost 2 years of age on this one. It was already aged for 12 months in whiskey barrels. So, we'll just, round it up to 3 years, babe. So, I'm excited. 10.2 alcohol by volume. I said that our red tea, and just want to double check. Denver, Colorado. Thank you. Avery's from Boulder. They're from Denver, I think. I gave Avery's from Boulder. Anywho. Not a lot of hiss. Not really a lot of hiss. A little bit of smoke on it. Not too much. Here we go. Pouring a caramel. Cloudy caramel. Here we go. Right here it is. The Old Ruffian. And yeah, a little cloudy caramel. A little bit of mahogany in there. And it's definitely got a very, very off-white, very, very off-white, almost to a creamy, tannish color head. Looks very nice though. Oh my goodness. The smell on this. The smell on this, I can already tell you. Yes, it smells very beautifully bourbon and caramel. Very. Raisins, cherries. Almost a little hint of a confectionery sugar sweetness with all that caramel. Caramel, a little bit of brown sugar molasses already coming up in the nose. Nice peppery bourbon. Nice peppery bourbon coming up in this. Wow. Okay, we're gonna get into it. Cheers. Different. Very different. I'm gonna give another one. It's a lot thinner than I thought it would be. I would say it's a bit thin. It is. It's a little bit thinner than I thought it would be. Overall, very medium body. I'm getting hints almost of a fruit in there that I didn't expect to get. Almost a lemon. So subtle hints of some kind of almost a lemon in there. It's very odd. I'm not surprised. Kind of shocked I'm getting some of these kind of characters. A little bit of hint of butterscotch in there too. It's hard for me to describe what I'm getting, but there is kind of like a cakiness to this, like a lemon cakiness. There's something in there. I can't definitely say it's lemon, but there's something kind of a different kind of a fruit note into this that I'm really surprised I'm getting. It might be coming from a little bit of that that whiskey note. Actually, there might be some fruit characters coming from that whiskey that I'm picking up there too, because it is whiskey aged. So, excuse me. I'd like to know what kind of whiskey they used. Excuse me again. Yeah. It's not as bombastic as the aroma at all. Soft caramels, muted brown sugar, butterscotch on the end, a little bit of hints of raisin. That bourbon is very low key. Very low key. Whiskey, rather, is very low key. Little hint of vanilla in there, too. But these flavors are very muddled. Very muddled, very murky, very low key. Odd. And it just, at the tail end, it finishes off with this note. It must be that whiskey coming back out. And it's hinting at some kind of subtle fruit in that whiskey finish. And the fruit is, it's not like a plum or cherry or raisin or anything like that. It just has this kind of soft, maybe a sour mash, if you know what I'm saying. That's a better way to describe what I'm tasting. You have a little bit of a sourness, right on a tartness or a sourness, right on the tip, or the last breath of the beer. Almost a sour mash kind of taste to this. Yeah, a very odd beer. Very muddled, very low key, very nuancy, soft caramel, soft molasses, brown sugar, very muted. A bit of butterscotch. That almost sour. That's why I said lemon, because like I wasn't saying like a bright lemon or anything, but there was like this like sour mash kind of tartness in the back end, and I think it might be coming from that whiskey. The whiskey itself is muddled too. Everything's kind of blended. The nose was so bright and perfect, but unfortunately, I don't know. It's not too cold. I mean, my house, this beer is not suffering from being too cold. It's just subtle. It's just suffering from the fact that it's boring. It's a boring beer. I mean, it's so muddled and muted together that nothing's having a chance to shine and dance around and have a good time. And that is the facts. Is it bad? No, absolutely not bad. It's interesting. I do think there might be some kind of sour mashing or something going on with this to give it that tartness in the back end. Pop that off. Okay, let's see. The special release is our highly acclaimed hefty barley wine ale. Has been aged for 12 months in whiskey barrels. The process tempers Old Ruffian's edges with a mellowed version of heady whiskey, very mellowed by the way, of heady whiskey notes and subtle oak flavors. Each limited edition bottle is special in its own right. This rounded wonder clocks in at 10.2 alcohol by volume, subjected food pairings, blah, 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 blah. If this beer was more bombastic earlier on in its life, that would be nice to try. It did mellow. It did mellow and blend together a lot, I would have to say. From what I'm tasting right now, I mean, you can have a time with this beer and say, okay, I'm getting muted caramel, some butterscotch, I'm getting this, I'm getting that. There's a little hint of a vanilla note. The tannic notes, they're not really tannic notes. The nose is beautiful. It's not a bad barley wine though. If you sip on it and supple on it, you move it around your mouth, you'll get those barley wine notes. You'll get the caramels. You'll get those brown sugars. You'll get a little bit of raisin. You're getting the vanilla. There's this subtle nuance of the whiskey. And at the end, you get almost that sour mash kind of that tone. There's a little bit of sourness in there. At the back, a tartness. But overall, I mean, even the flavors that leaves you in the palate is not like this clawing kind of, I want more. It's muddled and muted. It's melancholy. This beer is melancholy in a glass, that kind of deal. It's not a bad beer by any stretch of the imagination, but for me, it is just lackluster, unfortunately. And I mean, this is a lackluster beer that's getting a fucking 12-minute review, if you know what I mean. Because I'm trying to pull. I am. I would love it if I made a beer like this, though. I would be happy. Because it's very nice. It's delicious. I'm having a nice time drinking it. But as far as talking about it, pulling it out, and showcasing it alongside other bourbon barrel aged barley wines, it falls short. I'm not going to destroy it in grades or anything like that, obviously. I think it's still fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for the Old Ruffian. The only thing I will say is watch out for the price, because it's, when I saw this in Pennsylvania, I saw this in New York actually. I bought this in Washington, but I saw it in New York. It was $28.99 a bottle. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? $28.99 a bottle for that. After I drank that, I am so glad I didn't buy it there. I can't even remember what I bought this thing at. But if I bought a $30 bottle of a beer and drank it and it tasted like this, I would be pissed. Let's just say that. I mean, if you saw this on the shelf for $11.99, pick it up. It's delicious. It's good for what it is. It's great. But if it's more than that, I would definitely reconsider. Personally. But anyway, it's fun that I've had it. It's fun that I get to share this with you. It's been Paul from PABrewNews. 8 out of 10 for the Old Ruffian whiskey aged barley wine from Great Divide Brewing Company. I have yet to see their bourbon barrel aged Yeti. If anyone can find that, I know this sounds weird. Please send it to me. But if anybody can find that, get a hold of me so we can kind of work out how I can get a bottle of that to review, because I love Yeti. And not in that kind of strange anal way, but just in general, I love it. I love Yeti. So a bourbon barrel aged Yeti or a whiskey barrel aged Yeti, any kind of aged Yeti would be so awesome. So this has been Paul from PABrewNews. We'll go for the solid 13 minutes. I'll see you again on the next beer review. Cheers. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever all these other humans say at the end of their videos. Drink it. Bye-bye.